So in my last video I told you I'd show you all the different vehicles I've got and what my plans are for them. This is the newest vehicle to my convoy, my whatever you want to call it. It's a 2006 Ford E250. I got it from a guy who does the same job as I do. He got a new one, so he donated this to me for a work van because I need something for work. Unfortunately, it needs transmission work, some vacuum lines, a few little things. Nothing terrible. We'll clean it up a little bit, but it'll do. It'll be a good work vehicle. I gotta do some body work on it. But let's go to my next one. Again, don't mind the junk. There's a bunch of it. So this is another Pontiac Fiero. This one's an 87 GT fastback 2.7 with a 5-speed manual transmission. This was my first car that I purchased. It wasn't the first car I drove. I'll show you that in a minute. But this is my first car that was mine. I drove it for a few years. I wound up blowing out the clutch in it, getting the clutch replaced, and then the guy that I had replace the clutch had messed up the rear hubs, and anyway, they messed up the rear hubs. Long story short, this passenger side tire, rear tire, wound up coming off going down the freeway. I was doing a little faster than speed limit by a few miles an hour, but it came off going down the freeway, and we still have not found that rim. That aside, I bought new rims for it, all of that. I wound up selling it, trading it technically, to somebody for a 2000 Dodge Intrepid. A few years later, I start talking to the guy. He still has it, hasn't done anything big to it, and so I offered to buy it off of him, and he said yeah. So I bought it back. Three years after I sold it to him, I bought it back from him, and I've had it ever since. I've had it running again. I've had it stop running again twice now. But it's sitting here. She'll be my baby, my project car for the rest of my life. Yeah, she's going nowhere. Anyway, yeah, her name is Destiny. So, yeah. Anyway, this is an 89 Chevy S10. This truck was purchased originally by my great-grandfather. He had gone to the dealership looking for a new truck. At that time, Brant wanted a new truck. And they had this one sitting on the showroom floor. And he said that I would drive it away right now if I could, but there's one problem. It doesn't have a camper shell. The salesman told him, come back in a couple hours and he'll have a truck ready for him. So my grandfather left, did what he was supposed to be doing in town. A few hours later, went back to the dealership. Salesman said, yeah, we've got a truck ready for you. Dealer walked him off over there and told him, here, this is the truck that you liked from the showroom floor, and it's got a camper shell on it. The company that he bought the truck from purchased a camper shell and put it on for him at no extra charge. And so my great grandpa bought this truck right then and there. He had it until he passed away at 97 years old. And his driver's license didn't expire until he turned 100, but he passed away at 97. This truck then wound up going to my grandfather, who within a couple years started teaching me how to drive at a fairly young age out on his ranch. And he taught me to drive in this truck. Sorry, I get a little emotional about this one especially. I grew up loving this truck. I told him a long time ago that when he gets ready to do his will or any of that stuff, to please think of me when he's talking about this truck, or if he ever plans on selling it, to come to me first. And a couple years ago, been 3 or 4 years now, he went and bought himself another truck for out there on the ranch and decided he didn't need it anymore. So he called me up one day and asked if I still wanted it. Said, yeah, but I don't got the money right now to buy it off of you. He said, I wasn't asking that. The truck is yours. We just need to come up with a time when I can get it to you. So he brought it down to where I live. I drove it around for probably about 6 months. He told me it had some issues. And I drove it around for about 6 months or so. Pushed it through those issues, which I really shouldn't have. I should have had them checked out and taken care of then and there. But at that time, I didn't have the money. I was using it for work. And so now it's got more engine issues. The tach don't work, but it had turned over 3 times before it quit working. And then last year, he passed away. So this is another one that's not going anywhere. I'm going to say something that a lot of guys say. And a lot of them, they say it and want to put it through, but it don't happen. But one day, this truck will be back up and running. Fresh white paint. But I'm not going to do anything to the details, to the little cracks here and there. I'll put a new window there, do new seals, fix the trim. But these are the original rims. They're going to stay on it. The little dings and dents. This, he backed into a trailer out there on the ranch. That's going to stay. This was done by me while he was teaching me to drive. He had the back open, and I backed into a pillar in their barn. But yeah, this one's not going anywhere. Both of these two will be with me till I die. Anyway, come on down. Come around, more junk here. Enough with the sad stuff. I'll move on. Sorry, I don't know how to do none of these editing things. Otherwise, I'd edit out me walking around. This son of a gun. This truck. This monstrosity. I love it. It's an awesome truck. It's got balls. When it wants to run, it runs great. But I keep going through batteries. I've got a short somewhere I've got to figure out. I needed a vehicle again. like I often do. And one of my friends was going to sell this. Say, you know what, I'll sell it to you real cheap. He told me something that I couldn't turn down, so I bought it. Ran pretty good. I blew up the engine, got the engine rebuilt. Nice truck, like I said, tons of power. Freaking ran great. Still, now that I got it running again, I just got it running the other day again. It sounds great again. I just don't know if that electrical issue is going to be giving me more problems, so I haven't been driving it. Yeah, that's another one of them. Then I'll take you to one that this car stuck with us is beyond what it should have. This is a 98 Ford Mustang convertible with a 3.8. When I bought the car, it was all this super dark green color. Had a top. It was in really good shape, but I didn't take care of it, being an idiot like always. Window wound up getting busted, the top started rotting, so we pulled it off. We bought a new top for it, pulled the old one off, and I never put the new one on. I had boards up here at one point. I had some funky looking fake roofs put on there that I made. I started to paint the car white at one point, sort of lost interest halfway through. Then I gave it to my wife. When I gave it to her, I didn't mess with it for a little bit after that. She got her license finally, and then the transmission started going out. And I took it to work a couple of times, and then the transmission just, it completely gave out. But this car it held on as long as possible. I actually got to give it credit for being a Ford. I've got to give it credit. I'll get it back up and running for her eventually. Actually, you'll probably use parts from this next one I'm going to show you. This is a 2003 Ford Mustang, what's left of it. I got the car. I traded a 95 F350 dually for this. The F350 was giving me all sorts of running issues. I lost interest in it, gave up on it, so I traded for this. Running, all that was wrong with it was missing the front bumper at the time. And nothing from the cat's back for exhaust. But other than that, there was not an issue with it. I got it. I drove it around for 2 months, give or take. Put the blacked out headlights on it. Started doing things to it, making it mine. Got the Cobra rims for it. Started painting the interior parts that I wanted. Really cool metallic purple color. Then the night before Thanksgiving, on the way home from work, I got rear-ended on the freeway by a drunk driver. Crushing this whole section in. This whole part, I cut it off already, but this whole section was crunched in, crunched up, crunched down, crunched forward, crunched backwards. And I was hoping it was savable. But then I got down and looked at it a couple days later after we got it home. And on the frame, right back in there somewhere, can't quite see it, the frame is actually bent. So I'm not even going to no more. I'm gonna take the transmission out of it, possibly the engine, and put it in that one. They're both the 3.8. They've got the same transmissions, same wiring harnesses, all of that. same drivetrain, all of that. So I'm not worried. I'll take the stuff out of this one at some point, drop it in that one, and she'll have her car back. But yeah, I was not happy about that. I was actually rather upset. But yeah, there's a tour of some of my projects. I do have the 2 RVs and 3 motorcycles I'm working on. 2 of the bikes are mine, 1 of them's my wife's. But yeah, anyway, I'll let you all go. Have a wonderful night. And again, don't party too hard.